people, if this is your first time, we're going to go over some rules real quick. The entirety of this session will be recorded and it will be the property of our guest. During the interview, we need every mic muted. If you have a hot mic and you're making noise, you'll be booted from the session. This is the only warning. Please be courteous to our guest during the Q&A. He's taken his time to spend it with us. Let's be appreciative and welcoming. We're also going to have a few flash giveaways pop up in the giveaway channels for the folks that are tuning in. Now that we've got that out of the way, welcome back, guys. It's been too long. We got another amazing human being here to bless us with some cool stories. This is a guy that needs no introduction, but I'm going to anyways. Tonight we welcome Jik Fibbs. He's known for being the first person to stabilize the albino golden teacher and get it out to the masses. He's the founder of the TAT Syndicate and the man whose crew brought us an entire family tree of gorgeous, incredibly potent isolations like Ghost, Yeti, Hawkeye, Flipper, Deep End, Gandalf, Smurf, TAT Black Cap, and the list grows bigger every day. Jik and his crew have an entire family tree of amazing isolations from the beautiful to the downright fucking scary. Welcome to the gene pool, sir. It's great to have you here.
It's great to be here. I appreciate it. A little nervous, but it goes without saying.
Just pretend we're all naked.
I am. Are you not?
Absolutely. Well, first off, man, I really appreciate you coming to tell us stories. Folks really do and love hearing these. Thanks for giving us your time. I know you're a busy dude. But let's start from the beginning. Which was the first fruit you successfully cultivated?
It was golden teacher. One of my friends from work, he told me that he was growing mushrooms. I was quite interested. And after talking for weeks and asking him questions, picking his brain, he gave me a jar of colonized grain. And we had talked about how to grain and what to do with it. So I went home and I prepped up some grains and I took that one jar and I spread it amongst like 8 different jars. And they all died. Nothing worked. I did it wrong. So I went back to him and I'm like, I fucked it up. Can I get another jar? He's like, nope. I'm like, come on. It's like, all right, $20. And you are not allowed to come and get another one. All right. So then I picked his brain a little bit more, trying to figure out where I went wrong. And I got fruits the next time around, and my grain to grain worked. So I didn't have to get another jar from him, thankfully. It's going to grind my gears if I had to. It was in a lasagna tin, sitting above my fridge because that was the warmest cupboard I had. That was out of reach of my daughter at the time. And it wasn't pretty. There was no light in there, so it was growing in all different directions. It was an ugly fruit. And when I say fruit, yeah, it was one fruit. And I was fucking ecstatic. I ate it. I got high, so I was happy.
Winning is a win.
Yeah.
Well, what got you interested in cultivating your own in the first place? Like, had you eaten mushrooms before? Were you a fan?
Oh, yeah. Ever since I was young, I loved eating mushrooms. I remember one of the first times I ate mushrooms, I was going to the movies, we went to watch Natural Born Killers. Fucking awesome movie to watch on mushrooms. And I ate them going in. They didn't really kick in because I was sitting down the whole time. So, I felt it a little bit, and then get up and leave the theater. and it hit me like a shit ton of bricks. And I was a skater at the time, and I grabbed my skateboard, and I'm like, yeah, and I went and I did a 360 flip, no problem. I was like, what the fuck? I'm Superman. And from that point on, I loved mushrooms. I've always been fascinated by them, but I never thought I could cultivate them. It was never in my head. Um, it always seemed foreign. Uh, I, I would flip through the High Time magazines, see that there was ways to do it, but I never really investigated because I was living at home with my parents and never thought I'd be able to sneak that off anyway.
When you first started, like for a lot of us, the learning curve is a bitch, man. Like you said, your first try you failed. A lot of us fail over and over and over and over until it clicks. Uh, was your learning curve pretty rough, or did you kind of just find your groove?
Actually, it didn't seem that bad. Like the first time I failed, and I was not doing things proper at all. I was steaming the jars. I wasn't pressure cooking them. I was steam bathing them in a fucking giant pot of fucking water. Open air, transferring grain to grains, and I had success. I had a lot of failures, a lot of shitty jars, and I was only taking the best looking jars moving forward, and I went grain to grain for almost a fucking year before I started really getting into the online aspect and learning and reading. The thing is, when I started, I had my own little apartment all by myself. Me and my old lady were on a break, and I was just like I said, growing in lasagna Tupperwares above my fucking fridge. And when we got back together, I told her I really want to be able to grow, and she's like, all right, I support this. And then I expanded to a room underneath a set of stairs at our new place when we moved back in together, and and that's when I started trying to be more outgoing about it, more putting more effort into it instead of just floating with just grain to grain, grain to grain. It pretty much basically once I found that leucitic fruit that turned into an albino is when I really hit my stride. I was reached out to by Rob Stewart, the guy who started the Shroomery Facebook group, and he's like, the admins have been talking about you. I'm like, oh, what did I do now? Am I going to get the boot? Like all I've been doing is trying to post, trying to ask questions, trying to reach out, trying to branch out. Like I was fascinated by everything that was happening and wanted to progress more. And he's like, he tricked me. He tricked me. I thought I was getting the boot the way he messaged me, and then all of a sudden I'm in the admin group chat of the Shroomery, and I got thrown to the wolves. And from there, it was just learning and learning and learning and learning and learning and learning, and here I am.
That actually brings me to the next question I had for you. Um, we all have our Myco heroes, the guys whose texts we follow or the videos we watch, the books we read, got us off the ground and up flying. Do you have any inspirations or people specifically you went to for solid information?
That's an easy one. It's pasty. Um, I did have like I was in a small group of dedicated people that I was bouncing ideas off of, but honestly that whole small group was pretty much bouncing off fucking Hastings ideas, and we were just expanding from there. But yeah, Pasty was, and like on a personal level, he walked me through a lot of the shit I needed to know, and yeah, it's 100% Pasty.
Yeah, I don't want a fanboy, but yeah, Pasty's the man.
Yeah, yeah. Like um, I was, like I said, I was doing grain to grain, and then until I realized that I could do no pores, and no pores fucking changed the whole fucking scenario. And sorry. And then knowing that I was dealing with an albino and all the discussions that we had as an admin team with the shroomery and talking with Alex and Otto and Leon and Rob and Patrick, they walked me through everything I needed to know about how to do the process properly. Like back back when I found this albino, we were pressure cooking fucking Q-tips. And Alex is like, "Why are you doing that? Buy sterile swabs. It's more professional and it's guaranteed." Like just little things like that along the way. Alex actually did the first microscopic pictures of the albino spores to prove that they were actually albino because we weren't really sure at that point. They're beautiful, beautiful. Like he's got a high-end microscope and beautiful pictures.
That's pretty awesome. Do you still have those?
Uh, they are in the TAT Syndicate group. If you search under 2018, I think, the search Jik Fibbs 2018, I think that's when the timeline of when I posted those. You'll probably find them that way.
All right, that's on my list now. So you yourself, you've done some fantastic work, and you've solidified yourself in mushroom cult history. Tat alone is gorgeous, man, and it's coveted all over the damn planet. Um, we have members all over the globe growing your work. Does it give you a sense of accomplishment?
Of course it does. Of course it does. The, a lot of it is the genetics. Like I didn't really do anything all that out of the ordinary that anybody else wouldn't have done. Like the albino fruit that popped up, it's it was sheer luck, and most people would have done the exact same thing that I did. So I uh, yes, I am very thankful that people around the world are growing it. Um, do I feel like I am? It's hard to say. I'm on the fence. Um, I never wanted notoriety. I never wanted to be some fucking big shot. I just wanted to share this shit. And um, there's the fine line, a lot of controversy about how that has happened. I'm just trying to humble myself lately and just do the work.
Oh, no, you told me this months ago when we were chatting. You told me, I can't even remember. It was something like, I'm not special, and I just
Well,
got
I'm not.
lucky and isolated it. If I wouldn't have, somebody else would.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not like I did some magic trick to make it happen. It happened, and I got lucky enough to be able to do something with it.
Well, to
Like
me,
I didn't make the golden teacher albino. It showed up, and I did something with it. So like I feel like this could have happened to anybody, and I don't want to feel special because it happened to me. I just feel happy that I was able to actually do something with it.
well, whether you think it's deserved or not, there's a lot of folks who really appreciate your work and are really grateful for the magic you passed down. So we're thankful that you got lucky and handed us the lottery ticket.
Yeah, yeah. You know what they say is the meaning of life is finding something you enjoy doing, and the purpose in life is to actually share it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So start from the very beginning. You already gave us a little information, but the minute you saw that white fruit pop up, like what happens next?
I was already reading up on how to do agar and how to clone, had the ideas, knew what I needed to do, and that's pretty much where I was at. I pressure cooked a bunch of fucking swab, and then I swabbed a bunch of fruits, and that was it really quite blurry. It was very chaotic, it came on very quickly, what I had to do and what I needed to do, and doing the whole process. It was quite overwhelming, and I got it all done. But to give you a timeline, I really couldn't give you a breakdown. It's pretty much swab and clone and go to the next generation. And I do remember that one of my plates had an agar pin on it, and it was albino. And then I was like, yes, it worked.
I bet that was an amazing feeling.
Yeah, yes, it was.
So, what happens next? Tell me a ghost story, maybe.
Well, that's exactly what happened. As I was trying to isolate the albino teacher, because I'm still getting mixed grows, getting pigment and albino, and then I was getting like these weirdos, the little short guys. So then I took these little short guys and brought them to agar, and they ended up being short the next generation. And yeah, that's many generations after that. That's what it is.
That was one of those things. A buddy of mine from the Boomerang, he sent me. He's like, "Hey, you have to check this out." He sent me these ghost swabs, and when they fruited, I was like, "What the fuck is this? It's gonna take me a year and a day to harvest this." He's like, "Oh, dude,
Yeah,
it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it." And it's probably been I I don't think I have any other favorite variety.
yeah, they're definitely not for anybody that's trying to grow weight. If you're looking to grow a whole lot of mushrooms, you don't want to grow ghost. But if you actually want a nice personal stash of something that's gonna fucking knock you on your ass, yes, definitely want to grow ghost.
So, how about Yeti? That thing's a fucking monster.
Yeah,
What's the
yeah,
lowdown on Yeti?
yeah. Yeti was around the same time as Ghost, just trying to isolate TAT. Got this weird looking fucking dick mushroom that, like, it broke veil, and I was like, do I pick it? Do I leave it? So I left it, and it just kept growing, kept growing, kept growing. Still fucking solid. Keep letting it grow. And yeah, that's surprisingly only took like a few generations to isolate, just because it's a mutation. It wasn't a cross that needed like stabilization or anything. It was just a mutation that held in the spores for some reason. It took no time. I think 4 generations. Releasing that. One of my favorites, to be honest. If I were to die today, Yeti would be my proudest accomplishment, I think. Even though it took no work, just happy about what it is and where it's gone.
And your current project, we don't have to talk about it if you don't want to. Um, but I want to talk about your flipper project. For folks who don't know, do you want to share a little bit about it?
Yeah, definitely. Flipper is from my back cross with Blackhawk. So Blackhawk is TBC crossed with Hawkeye PE, and then I back crossed it with TBC, and I named that Tat Hawk. And while I was working with Tat Hawk, my dad passed away, and the next tub after he passed away had all albino fruits except for one that had very little pigment in the center, almost looked like a sunny side up egg. And I was like, well, you're the only one that's different, and I would like to do an isolation in my dad's name. So I picked that fruit, moved forward with it, and somehow, some way, it became one of the weirdest isolations I have ever had a pleasure of working with. Um, for some reason, while it's growing, near its end of life, it will lay down instead of pointing straight up. Then it'll start growing gills on the top. It gets a little white, like a bright white halo. The white halo breaks open to reveal this like morel style gill structure that grows and separates the tip of the cap from the brim of the cap. Kind of hard to explain. I've shared many pictures, so if you've seen the pictures, you understand what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely a cool looking fruit. I can't wait to get my hands on that one.
Coming soon, before April 20th. That's the anniversary of my dad's death. I would like to release it on or before then.
And that's really wholesome, man.
Thank you.
So I thoroughly enjoy digging through the old Boomery archives, the late 90s, early 2000s, and just on and on. I'm always reading old Shermery shit. It's kind of funny, some of it. But I found a thread when I was doing my homework, trying to come up with some cool conversation here. And I found the thread where you were announcing to the world your work with the TAT stuff. And you were talking about like your Blue Moon and the Smurf projects, I think. And it seemed immediately folks were jumping all over you, trying to discredit you and tear you down. And from the looks, just on those specific threads, the only guy that had your back was our friend Pasty. But where I'm going with this, I'm not trying to take shots at the Boomery. But you didn't fight with them. You didn't argue. You presented your creations and kind of just went your own way and created your own community. And you now have your own little community that's not so little no more. You're gonna hit 10 grand this year. And that's what really brought me to you guys. Your positivity and the cultures you guys created of giving someone a hand up rather than mocking folks or ridiculing them for asking just, a silly question, or you should have Googled it first, you kind of lead by example and welcome anyone that's willing to sit down and listen. And that's always been our goal here at the Gene Pool. Push things forward, and anyone needs a hand, you lift them the fuck up. Like the minute I found you guys, I've been a huge fan. It's kind of weird, like that you're my friend now, because I don't know. I was always a huge fan. I'll quit being a fanboy now. But when you created the TAT Syndicate, did you ever think it would turn into a full-on movement?
No, not at all. It was just for me keeping track of what I was doing. It was I had seen other groups that were just kind of mumbo jumbled, and everybody was just posting random things. And actually, when I did start the group, it was only for me and a select few. And I think about a year and a half in, I opened it to the public, just because things had blown up far beyond anything I ever thought would happen. I thought, yeah, this is cool. People are gonna like it. I better try to do something with it. And then, like, everybody seemed to be asking about it. But mind you, I was posting about it a lot too. But everybody did it, and I'm a small time grower, just just a couple of tubs here, a couple of tubs there. I think the most tubs I've ever done at one time is 15. Still till this day, like I don't grow very much. I don't have the time. I don't have a family man that works a lot. I've always tried to keep it simple, tried to not make this career. Well, I guess during the pandemic I had, well, you know what? Maybe. But uh, what was the start of the question? Oh, did I ever think it was ever going to be this big? No, never in a million years. Never, never in a million years. And I was thankful, very thankful, still am. But I do feel like I'm trying to dial things back now lately. I feel like I'm seeing a lot of the community trying too hard to be something. I don't feel like that's what we should be doing here. All I've ever wanted to do was just create genetics and share them. And there's been a lot of hiccups and bumps along the way that have kind of turned me off of trying to make this into a big production of like I'm never going to go over 15 fucking tubs in my rooms ever. And as much as people want these genetics, I'm never going to try to be the one that's going to be able to accommodate the mad rush that we've had since the pandemic of growers. We have way more cultivators than ever, and with legalization on the horizons of many places and already happening in many states, the progression of new cultivators and people needing more education, more products. I'm never going to be that guy that's going to be able to produce any of this. So I've dialed it back. Not to say that I've dialed back my love of mycology, but I've dialed back my presence. I used to be an admin in 20 groups. When I was brought on to the shroomery admin team, it blew up from there, and I was an admin in 20 different groups, and I could never see myself doing that again. I don't ever want to see myself doing that again. I would much rather just head down, do what I'm doing, care about what I'm doing. I don't want to care about what other people are doing anymore.
That's kind of one of the things that kind of draw me to you guys in the first place, because I don't know, we align a lot with the way you guys run. We started out as a tiny little group of folks that a little bit less of the talking heads. It seems the whole mushroom community now is all about what could make me the most money. Yeah. And the people in the community that give more than they take, those are the guys that I really admire. Like, I mean, for example, Pasty, man, Rusty White. If that guy, all these guys are getting rich selling pasties genetics, and he's a humble dude busting his ass every day, 40 hours a week. And all these guys are getting rich selling his spores.
Yeah, well, not just that, the information and the legwork that he has done. You know, if people could make money fucking getting rich by actually fucking putting in the effort to fucking teach and like he would be a millionaire. 100%.
And then you've got, 500 talking heads on YouTube. Like, I'm going to teach you how to grow mushrooms after a word from all of my sponsors.
And what they're teaching you is probably what they learned from Pasty, trickled down with butterfly effect. These guys that paved the way. I get the new age of wanting to fucking capitalize on shit, but it doesn't sit right. Just because there's a dollar to be made doesn't mean you need to make it.
Actually, man, one of the reasons I really admire you, because it's pretty obvious that you really just enjoy helping folks learn and sharing, your craft with the world. And in the past few years, so many people have been diving headfirst into creating new isolations and hybrids using, syndicate genetics. Shit that if you trace it back, it all comes, from you and Dave and the boys. Um, do you enjoy seeing the syndicate lineage being used to experiment and create all this new stuff that's coming out every day?
Oh yeah, definitely. Very thankful that people would choose these genetics. Uh, I, 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 I can see why. I, they are they are quite easily mutated. They definitely don't like to stay stable for very long. Um, there are some that are more stable than others. There's some that just TBC. Oh my goodness, what a bitch that can be, but what a fucking potent strain. So it's fun to see people trying to tame, and people actually do tame it. Like Tim, my goodness, he is the TBC king. Envious. I've tried to tame that bitch for fucking years, and he's killed it.
I really wish that guy would get on Discord. Damn it. I want to get him in here. So, all right, I got one last question for you, Jik, and then I'm gonna release the hounds, let them bug you.
Yeah.
Real simple one, dude. Um, if you could go back all the way to the beginning, would you do it again?
Yeah. And I would do it exactly the same, all the same fuck ups.
No regrets.
No regrets. No regrets.
All right, man. Well, it's been really cool to have you in here and share some stories. I really appreciate you. And I'm glad you gave us the chance to share some stuff with I guess we had so many people, it wasn't letting any more people in. I was trying not to
Oh,
look at the numbers, but
wow.
I love you,
I,
brother.
I,
Um,
I don't know Discord very well, so I'm guessing that's a good thing.
that's pretty awesome. We haven't done it before, so
Oh, well,
I'm gonna release the hounds, man.
okay.
I love you, man. Have a great night, bro.
Love you too. See you on golf.